Hello, this is the presentation for IBM Watson Analytics Global Competition brought by Taulant, Hakan, Muhamed, and Artan as our mentor. Our topic is Livestock Cultivation Role in Global Climate Change. Livestock represents one of the most important sectors in food industry, which provides more than one-third of protein needs. Regardless of the benefits to the population feed, poor management of livestock can play a significant role in environmental degradation and global climate change. Huge amount of methane is produced from enteric fermentation, which is 20 times stronger than carbon dioxide. Some of the environmental effects associated with meat production are pollution through fossil fuel usage, animal methane, effluent waste, deforestation, water shortage and pollution, land degradation. The goal of this project is to quantify the impact of the livestock industry in global climate change in the last 18 years, and our problem statement is animal farming relation to greenhouse gas emissions. With the latest innovation and technology investments in agriculture, better methods for livestock cultivation have been developed. Modern farming techniques seek to minimize human involvement, increase yield, and improve animal health. Therefore, it is believed that these improvements have lowered the impact of livestock cultivation in environmental degradation. Research and technology development in agriculture are important activities for a number of countries. Therefore, there must be a positive correlation between government investments in new technologies, farming techniques, and livestock production quantity. For the purpose of this project, we have selected countries with the highest livestock activity from all continents excluding Antarctica. Main datasets were exported from Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, World Bank, Poultry Production and Climate Change World Congress paper. We used datasets in CSV format. Microsoft Excel was used for merging related datasets, and datasets were further refined using Watson Analytics tools like creating new columns, joining datasets, calculations, etc. In addition, social media analytics was used as a tool to explore the popularity and sentiment analysis about livestock and transport topics. We have created 6 dashboards with insights. The first one is an introduction to livestock trends for the countries chosen. In this insight, we can see the stock and carbon dioxide equivalent emissions by country. Here we can easily recognize top countries by livestock and pollution ranging from 1990 to 2014. Methane is one of the top gases emitted by livestock. This chart shows that swine is the biggest emitter in total in a period of 20 years. Number of stock has increased linearly over the years, where poultry dominates the livestock. Apart from enteric fermentation, manure plays a significant role in carbon dioxide equivalent emission. The pie chart shows that nearly 15% of livestock direct emissions come from manure. Production of livestock commodities such as meat, milk, and eggs emit greenhouse gases due to the use of energy from sources like fuel, coal, oil, etc. Here is a chart showing countries with highest production, which are expected to be biggest polluters. From the all-animal product, milk whole fresh cow is the largest carbon dioxide equivalent polluter, followed by pig meat and poultry meat. Despite the milk being the biggest polluter according to the previous chart, milk is also the most abundant product of livestock. Figure below shows the relation between production quantity and emission for each product for 2 distant years, 1990 to 2009. We can see that pollution from meat has increased, but the production quantity has slightly changed in contrast to milk, whose quantity has increased, but carbon dioxide equivalent emission is still stable. We can deduce that milk is one of the most efficient products. Product emission is the result of using energy for the purpose of producing livestock products. In the following figure, we show a comparison between enteric fermentation, manure, and product emission in carbon dioxide equivalent over the years. The graph shows that energy used to produce livestock commodities is the leader, followed by enteric fermentation and manure. Emission from livestock products like milk, eggs, and meat seem to not have a correlation with GDP, even though it is intuitive to believe that rich and developed countries should have better and more advanced methods to produce livestock products while polluting less. According to our findings, Brazil is first ranked by amount of pollution emitted and has higher GDP than other 2 top emitters, China and India. With the development of technology and increase of machinery investments, lower emission of pollution are expected from livestock production, but data shows the otherwise, with the exception of some cases where there are countries with higher emission even though the investments are high. Such outliers are Germany and UK, where Germany has similar investments to UK but higher emissions. Despite the machinery investments increase in some states, overall carbon dioxide equivalent emissions have not decreased as expected. These insights compare livestock emission with energy production and transport sector. Based on the Western analysis, energy production is the highest emitter of carbon dioxide equivalent, followed by transportation and livestock cultivation in the second and third place respectively. But if we take the above data and add the emission from animal commodities production and enteric fermentation, their sum reaches the value of transportation. This chart shows that livestock cultivation pollution can be compared to transport, and therefore it is a big player in global climate change. Also, the enteric fermentation emission alone is as high as 30% of total agricultural emission. Knowing the fact that agriculture covers a wide range of industry products, comparing by numbers, we have summaries of average emission of carbon dioxide equivalent in gigagram, which was extracted by Watson Analytics summary tool. Number of product emission plus enteric fermentation and transport emission. This dashboard shows the key drivers for net value of livestock production in US dollars. We chose 3 factors to measure their impact. As we can see, this value is driven by investment and followed closely by number of urban population in the role of demand. Third factor that drives net value production is the employee in agriculture. As a part of livestock industry are domestic use cultivators. Recalling from previous charts where investments didn't have impact in lowering the pollution, we can say that investments are going toward fulfilling the needs for livestock products as priority rather than being pollution efficient. Watson's social media was used for analysis of popularity and sentiment analysis of livestock emission as an important sector in environmental pollution. We compare the analysis against the transport sector because according to our insights, livestock emission, which is composed of enteric fermentation, plus emission of products during the production, pollutes similar to transport. Regarding the context of topics, we use some important keywords related to pollution, such as CO2 emission, GHG, methane, etc. We excluded some keywords related to livestock like hunting, attack, animal rights, etc. because there were a lot of negative sentiment related to hunting and slaughtering of animals that do not directly apply to livestock emission topic. Similarly with livestock, we use some keywords for transport too. Analysis of mentions by sources, there is a significant lack of awareness that livestock plays a big role in pollution. Transport is widely known as one of the biggest polluters while ignoring the impact of livestock, which is comparable to transport. The social media analysis shows that news is the main source of livestock mentions in terms of pollution, but it is eclipsed by transport. Other sources are insignificant by quantity. Sentiment analysis shows a domination of positive sentiment of livestock and pollution. Number of positive mentions come from articles about greener approaches to livestock and food production such as vegan alternatives. Also, there are mentions of techniques of cultivation known as agroforestry. Negative mentions treat livestock as big greenhouse gas emitter and environmental degrader, usually from countries that have direct problem with livestock or its products such as manure. Given our extracted data sets, the first goal to future work would be analyzing usage of land and water for livestock cultivation. Using the data, we could find how much water and land is needed to produce livestock products, and by using these statistics, we could make predictions about how much land and water are needed to feed the entire population of our planet, which is increasing every year. Also, how to preserve these resources. An important variable to be included in this insight would be forest degradation caused by livestock cultivation, which is directly correlated with land use. We can see that livestock cultivation is a key factor in global climate change. An important step to solve this problem is to analyze plant-based protein source products equivalent to livestock products such as meat and milk. A comparison between The alternatives would show us the cost of producing each of these and find more efficient solutions in terms of land use and water usage, CO2 equivalent emissions, and production cost. Earth's temperature has changed during the history, but last century marked a drastic change due to excessive human activity. GHG gases released into the atmosphere have increased the planet's average surface temperature for about 1.1 degrees Celsius. Most of the warming occurred in the past 35 years, thus marking the years to come warmest recorded. Since livestock is one of the main sources of protein intake, it makes livestock to be seen as a basic need more than a problem. We should invest in research so this way we can develop better practices and methods to combat environmental degradation. Promotion of plant-based food alternatives would help reducing the excessive consumption of livestock products. In order to get the facts right so we can take reasonable and effective decisions to help the environment, food industry and similar institutions should work more on transparency of their activities.